Hello everyone, my name is Sonny Herman. I'm with cmh3studio, and today we are going to talk about Codoozer. Codoozer is a new software application that's out that allows folks who aren't programmers be able to build mobile apps and learn a little bit about JSON as they go about doing their construction. So Codoozer is on a website, and I'll give you the web address. It's Codoozer, Codoozer.com. And it's just like they said, building great software without programming. So I encourage you to go take a look at Codoozer. They just launched yesterday. That would have been May 8th. And it's really neat stuff. And today we're going to talk about how to get started. So I got a PowerPoint, and today this is our agenda. We're going to define what is Codoozer, and do I have to know programming. We'll get a visual illustration of all the working pieces of Codoozer. We'll go over the vocabulary. These are the words you'll see in the Codoozer application. And then we'll also take a look at the layout and give you some basic navigation. So what is Codoozer? Codoozer is a code builder. It is web-based. You don't download any applications to your computer. It runs on Chrome. Right now you can use it to build Android apps, but in the future they'll be adding more functionality to create websites and server-side software. It does not require any programming, but I found that if you have a little experience with JSON, that will help. They are still in beta as of May 2020, and they'll probably be in beta for the next 3 to 6 months, and I'll talk a little bit more why that's important. The tool is geared for small business and startups, and Codoozer is really part of a series of products put out by the Doyo parent company. And Doyo actually stands for do your own whatever, do your own tech, do your own apps, do your own software. Codoozer allows you to configure everything inside the project, and it does this by using JSON objects and JSON arrays. It has a simple interface, but it's quite easy to get around. It's very fast, and we'll take a look at it here soon. Like I said, familiarity with JSON is not required, but it does kind of help when you're thinking about logically framing out your views and your containers and stuff like that. I do know that Codoozer will be putting out tutorials, and they do have webinars. I attended one yesterday. That's why I decided to investigate this further and get into it. It's really fast. I think that's kind of like the biggest thing I found about it. It's quick, and it's actually quite clean. And when you do your development, similar to another product called MobileCube. Well, I shouldn't say similar, but a lot of folks who know MobileCube may find that this is a little bit more advanced, but it's got a whole lot more capability. And of course, Codoozer, if you're already a programmer, can help shorten your development time by helping you get all around. So I put this chart together. After the webinar yesterday, they talked about all the different pieces of Codoozer, and I found that I put this chart together, it was easier for me to understand. So let's just take a brief look of this, how this kind of works together. So Codoozer is a series of JSON files that have already been defined when you first launch the app. And the first area that you should kind of get to learn is the resource area. These are files that contain something. These could be files of text, images, video, audio, PDFs, and those resources are controlled by or enabled by components. So when you're working in Codoozer, you will use components that handle your resources. And their components have these components names like this: image component, text component, map components. Again, those components only interact and control the resources, and they also the user action on those resources. The views are a group of components. So let's say I have a main view or like a main screen, and in that view I want to display text from or image from a image file. I could use an image component and then call that image from my resource. And they have a resource folder when you first open the app. I'll show you that it has some predefined files and hierarchy, so it kind of helps you find out where your items are at. But just to kind of keep going, the views, which there can be multiple components inside of one view, are what handle the components, and then the components handle the resources. And then finally, the wrappers, they contain and control all the views. They can show one or more views, and they can also define graphic elements on the view. So hopefully that wasn't too bad. I highly recommend after going through Codoozer, just kind of looking at this video again and just kind of getting the idea of how items are nested inside of each other. There are also functions that are used by Codoozer, and I kind of listed these 6 items over here because they are elements that are engaged by and used by components. They could also be engaged by wrappers. They are like functions. Functions are behaviors that tell the app what to do. There are dialogues, which are like pop-up boxes. You can call a dialogue and it'll do a pop-up, and you can add actions to those buttons. There are different kinds of menus. There's like a title bar menu. There's also like a drawer, or the menu that slides from the side of your app type menus. You define those in Codoozer. There's also condition statements you can apply to any function that's happening in the system. You can write this very simplistic if logic to say, if this value is this, do that, right? Now, when I show you Codoozer, it's not like you have to write out all the code. You just simply are selecting some predefined values that say if, and then it'll prompt you to say if what field. It's pretty cool. References are like parameters on functions. You can reference addresses and other items in the Codoozer app. And then of course there are events. These are things that are happening while the app is running. And here's all the full descriptions of what I just talked about. I would recommend pausing the video here and reading them over. I know it's a lot of text, but it does kind of give you a more comprehensive definition of these items. And just to kind of talk about again, JSON is what this is made out of: JSON objects and JSON arrays. And so those JSON objects commonly have key value pairs, and those are surrounded by curly braces. Now you don't have to type all these curly braces, it's going to do it for you. They are generally separated by a semicolon. Oops, that should be a semicolon. And they can also contain numbers and text and other JSON objects and other JSON arrays. And then of course here's just an example of a JSON array where they have the key and the value pair with it. So I'm actually going to launch Codoozer on my web browser on Chrome. I'll sign in. And it costs nothing to just get to here. This is just you playing in the web app. So I'm going to go to a previously built app here. Hopefully there it is. Alright, so this is actually the screen where you're going to do all your work in. So the main screen here, you'll find your account information on the bottom left. So this, you can look up, this will be your Doyo account. Your JSON folders and files will be here on the left on the menu drawer on the left. You can save your projects. This saves it to your download folder. The Codoozer project, not the actual APK, that's over here on export. And then you have your actual JSON arrays over here, and this is your main editing area right here. So when you first build your Codoozer app, and I can do that by just coming over here to plus and say I'm starting from scratch. The app actually sets up predefined mandatory components to do this Android app development. So just like right here, it shows you the ID, the project name, and then the actual name or the title of your app. It's got some Android pieces here. It's got the package name, the version number, and the version name. And so these are things that you can define yourself. You're not they're just pre-populated as kind of like fillers into the system. It also has 26 colors that are already kind of preset into the system, but you can add your own custom colors. And then of course it has events, and those events on the initial build, the first thing they do is say, hey, this event, this action, I want to go to the main screen. And so the main views, or the views and the view wrappers, remember back on this right here, these views are inside of view wrappers. So every view has a view wrapper. So in like this example, there's a main wrapper and a main. And I know that you're probably like, well, what's the difference between the two right now? I think the best way to describe it is the wrapper is holding not just one view. It can hold many views inside of one wrapper. They can all point to the same main wrapper. What it's doing is giving you all the necessary pieces to properly display the objects on the screen. Maybe that'll become clearer as we keep going. But just like I was telling you in the beginning, it predefines and sets up all your necessary JSON objects in the initial file structure. Of course, you can add to these files later, but what it builds for you in the beginning is your view, is your view wrappers that hold those views. Now views can access icons, any kind of resource. These could be image files, they could be audio files, they could be video files. Those are all over here in the resource folder. And then menus are like where all the different types of menus will hang out, like your active bar, your drawer, which is kind of like those menu items on the left that you can fill out. And then it has a default dialogues box. That's that pop-up alert, I guess, JSON object there. So I want to kind of show you, this is after I selected the app item here, and I can do the same over here. You see it. This is what you see in the main editor area. You will see these X's and plus signs and up and down arrows and lock arrows on all these arrays. And so what that's doing is, and these little toggles right here will show you the array list that's inside there, and it can kind of tells you there are 3 arrays inside of here. So you can see this. This is under the Android. Shows you the package name, and you could define this yourself, but you would want to follow the naming standards for package names. Something like that. And of course, when you publish to Google Play, you have to increase your versions as you are releasing new versions of that app. But I kind of wanted to give you some information that I've learned. This ID at the very, very top is just a unique ID. It doesn't mean anything. It just has to be unique. And you can change that too to whatever you want it to be, but it does have to be unique from project to project. The name and the project name are 2 different things. The name is what you're going to display to your users, and it can include spaces and special characters. The project name, it defines your project, and there are no spaces and no special characters. So my project name, I could call this my first app, but then under my name I can spell it with caps and put all my own things in here, and it will consume it and take it. Now one of the other things you'll see is these plus signs here, and what they're telling you is on this particular object you can include additional variables for the different types of languages. This is right here. This is English, Spanish, my guess is Portugal. You can say when I have Spanish language type on a cell phone, you know, you can have a different name for your app. So that's kind of interesting. You always look for the plus sign to see if there's something else that can go along with that particular array. And so for the Android, this is the required, the package name, the version name, the version and version name. You can also include additional Android elements, like if you have a Firebase server account, you can access and use this. If this app has that particular functionality, you'll want to include that here, including the Maps API if this particular app is going to be using like Google Maps or something like that. And of course, here's all your colors. There are 26 preloaded colors, and you can actually create your own. I guess, you know, we could call this Sunny's color. And then you just give it the, I'm not sure what, I think that's the RGB or hex. You can even customize it. I didn't see that before. That's pretty cool. So you can have your own custom color, and so these are definitely the global variables. So this means other screens will be reactive and understand when you're picking a color and you say the color is sunny, it knows which color that is right down here. It's purple. And then of course, like I was showing you over here, the first event that it does for you is actually goes to main. You see that event on start, go to main. So event on start, go to main. So what it would do is it would go to your main screen there. And so here's how you work in Codoozer. You take if you're trying to get rid of an array, you just hit that arrow there, and if you want to add one back in, you can say with the plus sign, hey, I want this function go to main screen. See, I actually fixed that because it said main before, and then I renamed it the main screen. So I just corrected it there, and you see right here, there's this little link right here. This will take me to the wrapper, or to the view for main screen, and this is actually my main screen right here. May have jumped too soon, but this is how powerful and dynamic, and sometimes a little scary, this app can be. But we'll kind of keep going just to keep you. This is just early stuff, and there's going to be more and more tutorials coming out. Probably done by Codoozers themselves, but I thought I'd at least give it a try, give it a start. And I was actually able to do quite a bit. You saw that over here. Get an app going and playing around and having some fun. And that only took a couple hours, and I'm not a programmer, but I felt like I was able to do this with some trial and error. But I think one of the things I liked about it, it was so the web screen is so quick and so fast. It's just I can't believe it. You can do something, take it out, put it back in, and it's just very, very quick. So I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything here. So these icons allow you to add, delete, and then moving arrays up and down is pretty important. Let me tell you about that. So when you stack your array sequence, or you stack your arrays one after the other, you have to remember that the way the Codoozer is going to interrogate this information is top down, going from the highest to the lowest function within that particular nested array. So think of it like building blocks. You stack the arrays, but you just got to know that they are nested, and how they, because this is what happens when you are putting stuff in there. You're not quite sure where is it tying to, what it's connecting to. That's what these vertical lines kind of help you also know. So what that means is these three functions are all under the on start action there, which are all under events, which are all under the initial screen of the app, the main screen of the app. So in this example, you can see when this app is running on start, you're going to go to the main screen right here, and then it's going to play a song. I just thought that would be fun. Plays a song, doesn't loop, and all these items here, they come up as you are doing it. It literally directs you when you say what you want to do next. And then this last function here is stop. So I just kind of want to give you an idea. It's going to go to the main screen, it's going to play a song, and then it's going to stop, which is kind of silly. Why start playing a song and then stop it? But that's what's going on. So let me show you that over here. So this is very similar. I can even get rid of this. I can say when, I'll just go all the way back. On start, go to the main screen. And here's that first, what was that called? The condition believe it was. Let me skip back. Yeah, the if logics are called conditions. I guess that's clear to everyone else but me. But you can say only do this go to function to the main screen when the value is not equal, the value is greater than, the value is equal to, I guess that was less than, the value is less than, and then the value is greater than. So this is where you can put if logic into just about any part of the code here, and it can perform and do as you desire when you nest this particular condition within inside that function. And maybe that's another thing too. You can hover and you can kind of see what is the area of work being done here. So I'll just take that if off there. And I'll add another function. This is like when I was talking about I was going to make it play a song. You can make it play a song, and so this right here, this is important. This is the resource that you have in your app right now. So if I get that to click, there it goes. And go back to my events. That particular song is in my resource, and that's the only way I can go get it. Oops. Let's just do that again. Let's go to, I think I brought up a different, I had a couple of projects over here, and I think I'm just, yeah, that's a different project than I was working on. Sorry, folks. There we are. There's that song. So now it's going to pull it in. It's going to play this song after it goes to this main screen. If I wanted it to play the song before it went to the main screen, I could use this up arrow, and so when it starts, it'll start playing the song first and then it'll go to the main screen. Or I could push it back down and say go to the main screen first. But this is definitely your sorting order, your sequence order. Your stacking is important. This is kind of like a weak list of things to do, but if you had specific logic that you needed to handle at a certain time within the chain of events, you can use these up and down arrows to make that happen. Alright, so I wanted to not spend a lot of time because I know my videos have been getting pretty long, but I wanted to kind of give you a list of the functions that are in Codoozer right now. So when you are on a screen, oops, that's okay, we can work on the main screen. So right here, these are your functions, and they are dynamic to the object that you're working on. So you're not going to get the full list of all the functions every time you are working in Codoozer. It's smart enough to know that you're working with an image type and only to give you the functions that belong to an image. Like this one right here, I had the width set to 85, so let me kill that on there and you can see what I'm talking about. So the area that I'm working on is also viewable on this little viewer that I think they call it visor, and you could turn that on and off over here, but it tells you which section of the code are you working in. So this right here is the image that is referenced right here. It's called title PNG. It's horizontally aligned and it's got a margin of 20 and no padding, and here's its width right here, and I can shrink that. I can make it 100%. But the way that you add those is like I delete it right there. I'm going to add it back in. I'm going to say the, what was it, the width, and you can select that it's wrapped, that it's 100%, or you can actually type in your own value right here. And that's pixels, 85 pixels. I don't think we want that. I think we want the 100%. Little bar here, and then you can run it down like that. Cool. And so these little toggles, arrows, are really helpful in just kind of keeping your area workable. And so that was the title image there. This item right below it is this image right here. That's the actual image file. It's in my resource folder under images. It is centered align. I have a function that's called when it's clicked. On click, I want you to play this song. And I'm working on this set feature where it's going to tell a variable in the app that the play music value is yes. We'll talk about that more. That's using the set function to control variables in the system. So let's go look at those functions again. This functions list is as of 5/9/2020, and here are the items that that different objects can engage into and use whenever you do your coding. So should I go over the whole list? I don't know. You can add, so Codoozer can also work with databases. It can work with JSON databases. It can use CVS as well. Those databases you can add entries into, you can remove entries from, you can call browsers from the app, browser window, and open the URL with whatever you defined in there. The go to action, you kind of saw that. That's the one that you can use to navigate around. But here's some of the interesting and cool things. You can create variables, and let's say it's like a number variable or a counter variable, maybe for a game, it's for a timer. You can use functions that increase the variable by 1. You can use functions that reduce the variable by 1. They'll also have ways to call ads, like interstitial ads, log in and log out. Now those do require that you have a Firebase account, because you're going to use some of that authentication from Firebase. You can do actual math where you multiply and divide. And then obviously you've got some capabilities of playing and stopping sound and moving to and from tracks in your app. And I think that's all the ones I kind of want to talk about right now here. But the way that you will see which functions work with whichever array you're on, it will always kind of like just pop up just like that, just like we did here. This was our functions that we can utilize here. So I use set, and then I said what value I want it to be for which variable. And that is how Codoozer kind of works. Here are some other screens. I was trying to make it like a little navigation bar at the bottom. That was just me practicing. If you go down here, I think in MobileCube it was called a table. Over here it's kind of called a group. And just like everything in Codoozer, it is extremely flexible. You can do just about any variation of putting together groups of data. But this is the actual buttons down at the bottom. So in this first button down here, this actually goes to the gallery view. So when you click on gallery, I haven't really done anything yet with it. I just put a little box up there for ads, and in the gallery I put the web URL that I want to call, and I put it right here. It actually goes to a Flickr URL. So this is me calling, this screen will call an API on Flickr with the information that I want it to pass, and it'll present that screen and everything like that. So that's really all the parts that I've kind of did tonight. And again, it's a lot of fun because I haven't seen a software that is giving you this much control and so quickly to build it. The last part I'll show you is just how to save your file, and that's up here at the top. Click Save, and it'll save your Codoozer project file here. This is not an APK. This is your file that you can open whenever you come back to Codoozer and you say, hey, I want to import my project file. If it's not already there, I think it keeps it there. This is just your local copy. And then of course, when you want to build your APK, you would go to Export and you would click that APK button right there. Alright, well that's all I had for today. This is again the first video I've done for Codoozer, and there will be future ones where we do more of the intricate effects and functions that are available in the system. If you haven't had a chance yet, go to codoozer.com, codoozer.com, and take a look. You can sign up for free. Again, if you like these videos, you like the MobileCube videos, please subscribe to the channel. Give it a like, and if you're a library user, if you want to support the channel, just click on that support icon, or give it a tip, whatever you feel you're comfortable with. If you're learning something from this, and you're able to do something as well, create your own apps, and maybe earn money through advertisements. That's great. I'm hoping that other people enjoy doing this kind of work. And so with that, I'll let you guys go, and you have a great night.